Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, I stipulate on the sometimes these days. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It's a new week, it's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures, let's tell stories about Maestro Martin and his Arsenal Avengers.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hello, everyone, no matter where in this world you might be. Thank you for joining us. And joining me once again this Monday Madness is my guest co-host. Couldn't ask for a better wingman tonight other than Mr. Lee Judges.
How are we doing, Sophie, and everybody in the chat? I hope you've all had a good weekend. Certainly 5 good reasons why we did five good
reasons. We love it. Absolutely love it. Lee, thanks so much for joining me this evening. I always love having Lee on the show. By the way, good evening, squaddies. At ease, everyone. And good evening to all those in live chat. Demsec is here. Carol's here. Ian's here. David's here. Masked is here. Matty's here. Tom's here. Gooner's pod is causing havoc, I'm sure, already in the chat. I know I saw Jared earlier as well. Lynn's here. Gooner Rose is here. The whole gang and fam jam is here. Our chief like officer is unable to be here today because she's got an early rise tomorrow. But I wanted to put this note up. Catch you all in the next one. Got an early start in the morning. We'll not be able to join you. Send in love to Super Kev. Get well soon. Okay. Why don't we start right there, shall we? Because I have been inundated with messages from so many of you asking me where Super Kev has been. And of course, there's nothing more I would love to tell you where he has been, but also some things you just can't talk about. And I am able to talk about it tonight because I also spoke to Super Kev, and Lee also saw him yesterday. So, squaddies, the love that you have for this man is unbelievable. Arsenal Universe, the love that you have for this man is unbelievable. And I'm so happy to see the love for Super Kev, because if there's anyone who deserves love in this Arsenal community, it is him. There is no ex-player that supports podcasters, fans, the communities as much as Super Kevin Campbell. Whenever I say to him, oh, Kev, someone's not feeling well, within 10 seconds, I have a video from Kev wishing someone well. And now it's our turn, everyone. It is our turn to pay back the man who has given us so much love over the last few years. My podcast brother from another mother. Kev has been very ill. And I got to tell you guys, we wear our heart on our sleeves here. And if there's one thing Super Kev always says to you at the end of the show is be sure to tell your loved ones you love them. And kindness, right? But he's always emphasizing love and telling your loved ones you love them. And I'm so happy I tell him I love him all the time. I'm happy I tell my family I love him all the time. And, you guys know I've been through a really hard time. When I got back from Cyprus, I set up a show for me and Kev and Lee to do together. And it got to the Monday and I hadn't heard from him. And I'm like, this is unprecedented. Something is wrong, because there is no way that Kev wouldn't respond to my messages. And I text Lee and I said, Lee, I haven't heard from Kev. And so we both went on the hunt to find out what was going on. And Kev was in hospital. He was in the intensive care unit for a while. And I don't think it's out of turn to say that we almost lost him. That's how serious this was and has been. And he has received all of your messages. He has sending you guys an amazing amount of love. And Lee saw him yesterday. But before Lee tells us a little bit about their visit, I'm going to play this message
to recovery. That's what really matters. Just want to tell you, send you all the love, Campbell love, and you know how much you're a little sister to me. You make sure you look after yourself. You make sure you stand strong. There's no stopping you. Life has a bump in the road. I'll tell you what, so much already. The bump. Anyway, love to you, love to Tony, Philly Vespa, all the squaddies. You can play them this message if you like, because I am on the road to recovery. I'll come back stronger than ever. All right? So look after yourselves. Take care, everybody. And remember, love your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Never did it. God bless. Bye.
I got to say that when this happened and I just lost my mum and I was like, life can't be this cruel. There's no way that life can be this cruel. And I hope you heard the message. Did you hear it, Lee? Could you hear it?
I heard some of it. It broke up at the beginning, but I got the gist of it, so.
Okay. It's hard to make out the audio. Okay, I'll try and play the message again. I don't know if it's because of my headphones or what it is, but you saw him yesterday, Lee, and he was in good spirits, right?
Yeah, it was good to see him. It's been a tough. I'm going to be honest. It's been a tough 4 or 5 weeks for definitely for Kevin. Let's put it that way, But for all of us, because at first, Kevin being Kevin, that likes to keep things to himself and put on a brave front and pretending there was nothing wrong with him and whatever. But we found out that obviously he was, in intensive care, and as you said earlier on, and I'm going to say it because he told me this yesterday. If he wasn't as fit as what he is, he wouldn't be here today. That's how serious it was. And still is, to be fair. But I went to the hospital yesterday. Didn't really know what I was going to expect, Sophie, if I'll be honest, because obviously you don't know what he's going to be. But when I see him, I knew that he was on the road to recovery, He's still got a long way to go. But the one thing that, we had a hug and we had a chat and all that. The one thing that's keeping him going is watching all the podcasts, all the Arsenal community, and not just the Arsenal community, Everton community, and all things like that. And I said to him, look, you've got to let people know now, so that people can give you the love that you've given to them over the course of whenever, And we sat there, and it was very humbling. It was a bit emotional, I'm not going to lie, get choked up, but showing me the messages from the players, sending in voice messages and things like that, and like videos. And the one thing that come of it, which is really, really great, Sophie, is that even through the terrible times that it is, the banter that they still got, they still having, having a little pop at him, and things like that, having a bit of banter with him. And it was great to see, and I just think now he's in that position where he needs to really, I think really for everybody to know how special he is to everybody, because, he's got time for everybody. A couple of stories that, we was laughing about yesterday, and this is the kind of bloke that he is. And we went to the West Ham game. It was the FA Youth celebration of 30 years, and he was there with all the players, and he rang me and said, I will meet up later. And I said, don't. You're with all the boys from the youth team and all that. Don't worry about it today. He went, no. I'll meet you at the pub. I'm bringing them all down. And he brought the whole squad down. That's the sort of man that he is, to meet all the fans in the pub and we ended up staying there till I don't know what God time it was, like, you know. And that's just the sort of things that he would do, you know what I mean? He doesn't think about himself, he thinks of others. And it was just, you know, it was just nice to see him and know that he's on the road to recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Got a long way to go though, so for be honest,
He
knows that as well. Like, you know, he gives it the large, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the funniest story is that with Kevin is that I obviously arranged to go up to Manchester because we was playing Burnley, which ain't that far. It's only about an hour, like 40, 50 minutes on the train. And when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he said, yeah, we'll go out and everything like that, you know. And, well, you know what I mean? He that's the sort of guy he is. He thought that he'd be out in a couple of weeks, but he's not, like, you know. But, yeah, he's gone through it. And the thing is, and, you know, Kevin won't mind me saying, they're still not 100% sure what it is, what's wrong there. He's got problems with the heart, problems with the liver, loads of other things as well, like, you know, that have all come on top at once. And, you know, one thing Kevin said to me, and he wants me to say this to everybody, is that, you know, enjoy life, you know what I mean? Because you don't know what's round the corner. So, you know, if you've got problems, talk to people. If you've got, you know, like, just enjoy bloody life, you know what I mean? And I know that when he gets out of the hospital, we're going to have a big old celebration. Because, you know, he had his birthday in there as well. And I just think it's time now that everybody shows their appreciation to the man. Just, you know, not because he's played for the Arsenal and all of that, like, you know, we've gone beyond all that, me and Kevin. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different for that. But, you know, obviously that's his thing with Everton and our Arsenal fans in particular. But, like,
and the Forest fans love him, and the Trabzonspor fans love him. Yeah,
and he does all things for them teams as well. Like, do you know what I mean? I know. I was at Forest a couple of seasons ago. Kev's been on the show. He's done this to help me grow and all that. Like, what a bloke, what a legend, and all that. Like, so it's not he just does it for everybody. He's so appreciative of his life that he's had through football and everything like that. He just wants to give back to other people, and I think it's an amazing trait of his. You know, you go out with him. People come up to him. He's got time for everybody. He's such a wonderful person. He really is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm honoured. You know what I mean? Like, that we're friends, and, you know, a couple of things he said to me yesterday. You know, I'm very fortunate that he's my mate. You know, and you know, we nearly lost him, and I told him, don't ever do that to me again, because I would have been absolutely devastated. So, you know what I mean? Like, so he's hanging in there and he's doing well. So, yeah, and it was a nice visit. I have to say, I come away from there in good spirits.
He just gives energy. Sorry, it's been so. Listen, guys, we talk about life, all of us together. 300 of you in live chat, hit that like button, and, you know, so many of us. This is a perfect example of not knowing what goes on in people's lives, and not, you know. And I know there's a ton of you that are like, why didn't you do a post-game show? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I mean, it's just been really hard lately. It really has. And then when this happened with Kev, I was like, fucking A. There's no way this is happening. There's just no way. And I tell you, if he's this comment from Mars Gunner, where is it? I just wanted to put this up, and we are going to talk some football, because Kev said I'll be listening, and I want to hear you guys bigging up the Gunners, and we got to keep this up until the rest of the season. He's ready. He's ready to win it all. It is scary when he's a elite athlete, doesn't drink, doesn't really eat meat. And this is exactly what Lee's saying, and what Kev said, enjoy life. And it is out of the blue, and it is a big shock. And I was shocked. Lee was shocked, absolutely shocked. But touch wood, he's going to be on the road to recovery now and getting better and feeling better. So you guys best be on your best behavior tonight, because he's reading live chat and he's listening. Kev, we love you more than we can tell you. Thank you for everything. And we hope you're feeling the love back from us tonight and beyond.
Yeah, and yeah, Sophie, what you said there is that, you know, the story goes as you know, I won't go too much into the details of it all, but like the story was he done worked at Everton at Goodison Park, felt fine, it felt a little bit rough, like, you know, thinking he's got a cold and all that. Then the next day, bang, and you know, the doctors you know, this is how serious it was. Phoned the family to say, look, you better get down here. That's how serious it was. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and but
that was the longest night of my life, other than a month prior.
Yeah,
that was a long night.
It was a long night. But Super Kev, being Super Kev, battled through and got through that. Like, you know what I mean? And while we was up there yesterday, I got to say, Tyrese come up, you know, and he was there with his girlfriend.
Lovely boy.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Both boys, Kyle and Tyrese, they're just so special.
Like, you know what I mean? Special family. I've got to say that, like, you know, we had a hug, you know, that's the first time I've met Tyrese. We speak a lot on the phone and things like that. But first time I met him, and, you know, obviously we've always said we're going to meet up, but didn't think it'd be in those circumstances. But it was nice, and to have a chat with him. And, you know, listen, Kevin's done so much special things in his life, and not only with the football and the friendships and everything like that. You know, he's brought up two wonderful boys as well. Like, you know, that you know, like Tyrese is, you know, he's a professional footballer, but you wouldn't know it. He's got those Kevin genes.
The humbleness. They've got the humbleness, don't they?
All, yeah, and you know, just you know, I'm just so proud that I can call him my mate. And
me too.
Yeah, you too. And you know, hopefully he's going to be around for a lot longer, and a few more years yet, Mr. Campbell.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about our Gunners. I was exchanging messages with Kev, and he was talking about, you know, keeping this up to the end of the season. Last time Lee and I spoke, I posed a question to Lee about mental, right? And mentally being in a position when the spotlight is at its brightest to win. And so I wanted to start off with who I thought, and most fans thought, was the player of the match, Martin Odegaard. And it's not by coincidence that we are playing the way we are, because our captain is back in form as well. Let me get rid of this banner so you can see this. Most goals and assists by midfielders since the start of 22-23. You have got the stats right here in front of you. Where's Potsy in his Madison love right now? Him in his Madison love. So I present to you Maestro Martin and his Arsenal Avengers. And I want to know from you, Lee, if the Arsenal are going to win the Premier League, does that success roll through the hands of the captain?
That's a big statement, but I think he's going to have to be about and playing like he is for us to do it. You know what I mean? Like, he's that influential. I don't think it all is down to him. There's other players that needs to be about as well. Like, you know what I mean? But I do think that he's the one that's. It's no coincidence that he's at form when Arsenal were back to where they were, like, back to where they were sort of round about last season with some of the football. I thought Saturday's performance, and forget whether it's Burnley or whatever, West Ham the following week. But you know what I mean? It's absolutely sensational. It's not just his play, Sophie. The weight of passes, the touches, and everything like that. His work rate and from the get-go was unbelievable. Like, you know, and I know that there's a thing in it, like in football, and Roy Keane says it. I said it the other day. You know, that's what you expect players to give it 100% every game, but they don't. Soph, they don't. There's certain players that don't. You know, and there are players which are called luxury players that do feel, and we've played with them, we know who they are. I've played with some in my time that just think that they don't have to do the dirty work. It's not part of their material. But if you have a look at Odegaard and also the main man and Kevin De Bruyne as well, I have to say that their work rate is sensational. And,
Mhm.
you know, when you've got gifted players and terrific players prepared to do the hard yards and work hard and everything like that, I just think that is a leader as well. You know what I mean? He leads from example. I watched Martinelli, you know what I mean? Didn't get the goal that he deserved. But if you go back and watch his work rate on that, like, you know, he was working superbly well. But why is he working superbly well? Because he's seen his captain do it. And, you know, I do think that's an unbelievable thing, really. Like, but I just sat there. I stood there because you don't sit down and just was in awe of his performance. There's been times this season I've been a little bit frustrated with Martin, if I'll be honest, with his.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't been great prior to Dubai, really.
When there's been times when he should shoot and he's passed when he's shot and things like that. But you've always gone, well, okay, because of his work rate and everything there, you know, and now it's all coming back again, like, you know, and well, I just thought it was it a 10 out of 10 performance? I think it was.
It was.
I think it was on Saturday. I think it was a 10 out of 10 performance from him. I really do.
Yeah, I think that I think it was a 10 out of 10, and it was a 10 out of 10 which led the Bleacher Report to even put this visual together. And I wanted to go here because, you know, other than Dennis Bergkamp in this picture, the others won, you know, you got Fabregas in there. Of course, he was a baby when he came to the club, but you got Santi, you got Ozil, and you've got Odegaard right in front. And to me, his performances over the last few games, Lee, to me, visually for the first time, secretly when he works in the shadows a lot, right, as a leader, but he has put it out there in the world for everyone in football to see. I'm putting this team on my shoulders. And I don't know what happened in Dubai, but whatever happened, and we talked about this, it's magical. Because to me, there's not only have they come back playing better football, tweaks here, adjustments there. Arteta grew up in Dubai as well because he has made some changes, which I'm going to come to you about. But visually, to me, it seems like he has said to the team privately, but publicly shown the fans, I'm putting this team on my shoulders. And there's there's 3 players in there I reckon he's an even better leader of. But of course, he's going to have to win it all to get the respect. But I ask you this now. How do you rate him against, okay, don't forget Dennis Bergkamp, right? And Ozil won the World Cup and he won a lot with Real Madrid, but he was surrounded by absolute superstars and Galacticos, you know, when he won. I think he is the nucleus of everything. And before that, okay, Jesus, I thought, was the nucleus of everything. I still haven't found who did this, by the way. But I think now Jesus's disciples are following another prophet. And this image needs to change, and Odegaard's image needs to be in the center. Because I'm going to say something wild now, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. I think we've found a way to cope without Jesus, without Tomiyasu, without Zinchenko, and without Thomas Partey. But I don't think we can cope for the rest of the season without Martin Odegaard, without Saka, without Saliba, without Gabriel, and without Rice. I think that's how important he's become and they are. Do you agree or disagree with me that this Arsenal team can go as far as they want even without Jesus?
Well, that is a bold statement when you look at it, because I said after the Nottingham Forest game that the player that makes this team tick is Jesus. You know what I mean? When Jesus plays well, Arsenal play well, and that's stats and everything you can throw at me. That is true. When he's on it, he's been fantastic. But we haven't missed him because of the players that have stepped up. I think 2 players have contributed that, and that being Trossard and Havertz. They've done fantastically well. They've sort of alternated the position, but I don't know, and I don't want to find out what this would be like without Martin Odegaard in this team. That's the way it is. I will say this is durable. He plays most games, you know what I mean? He's missed a couple of games, but most of the time he's there. Plays for Norway whenever available. I remember when he was about 15 and he was going to Real Madrid and didn't really know, just remembered the name, you know. He was just a 15-year-old going to Real Madrid. But when I look back on that, that was way too early for him, like, you know what I mean, if I'll be really honest. But I'm glad he did go there when he was 15, you know, because he's come to the Arsenal at the right age. And I just think that he's just I think he's fantastic. I really, really do. Then there was a lot of people that were doubting him at first. I've always felt that there was something special about him, like, you know. And do you know what I'm going to say? So I think there's more to come from him. I really, really do. I think there's more and more to come from him. 24 years of age now, I think he is. And I'll tell you what I'm going to say now about him. And there's been a little bit of criticism about his captaincy,
leadership. Yeah. It's nonsense.
And I think that sometimes you don't have to be a leader by shouting and screaming and doing all that. Listen, we've had great captains in the past, but we haven't had a fantastic captain for a very, very long while where I turn around and go, do you know what I mean? Yes, that is a proper captain. They've all had their little faults along the line, if I'll be honest. And whether you like it or not, people have even said, like, you know, Declan Rice will be captain soon. He should be captain and take over and all that. But I've seen things in the last few weeks and over the last season that I think Odegaard is great. And I'm going to go on to 3 points. One of them I don't agree with, but I'm going to go with it. Like, you know, every single game he walks around the Emirates, whether we've won, lost or drawn, does that, right? Has pushed players in that have perhaps not been having a great time at the Arsenal to the forefront of celebrations and all that, like, you know. So he's a team man.
Havertz, he did it with. Look what he did with Waneri when he came on, the young kid, passing the ball to him.
Give him the ball straight away. What man? What if, you know, like, if that's a leader, right, as a kid, you're running on. I can appreciate that, like, you know what I mean? You come into that world, you run onto the pitch, first thing the ball, Martin Odegaard goes, "There, old boy, you have it," and give it back, and then he don't give it back to him again. You know what I mean? That just shows you what class he's got. The other thing that I felt like, I don't know if you noticed it on Saturday, Kivia made a very, very good tackle off. So Saliba had been sort of outdone a little bit. Like Kivia come across, shepherded it out, done a brilliant bit of defending. Martin Odegaard pointing at him, giving him that, you know what I mean? Well done, clapping him and everything like that, boosting his confidence and all that. Now, I also remember the game against Fulham, away from home, without a shadow of doubt, our worst performance of the season. Poor performance. But Martin Odegaard walked up to the fans, and I weren't happy about it. You know, I just don't go away, Martin. That's how I was feeling at that sort of. Just go away. Don't, you know what I mean? The whole team's been shocking, and he was saying it's on us. We're sorry. It's on us. You know what I mean? Like, we're and apologised for that performance. I haven't seen that from an Arsenal captain for a very, very long while, Sophie. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that I look back at that now and I think to myself, I know, I respect you for that. You know what I mean? And I didn't really need it at that sort of stage, but, like, you know, it was basically, we're not going to have another performance like that. So all those sort of things that have been put up in front of him, and I have to say, I just think he's getting better as a leader. And one thing you have to say, Sophie, is you can criticise Mikel for certain things and all that. He called that. You know what I mean? Like, where a lot of people didn't see it. You know, Martin Odegaard, you know what I mean, was captain. There was a bit, you know, could have gone probably Saka he could have give it to at that stage. There was a couple of players in the line for it, but
Well, there was talk about Gabriel a little bit, wasn't there? Even Thomas Partey for a time was, I mean, there are lots of. It takes a lot to be a captain. I mean, Kev's talked to us about the captain responsibility is vast, and they have to do a lot behind the scenes as well. And I love Declan Rice, and so many of you have talked about Declan, and you're like, you love him, but there'll come a time one day, maybe, if Odegaard goes back to Real Madrid or he ends up staying in, Arsenal forever. Forever is never a guarantee in football these days. But to know that we have these players, you don't have to wear the armband, like Lee said, to be a leader. And look, I am not saying by any stretch, someone just wrote, I want to put this captain back up saying, don't do that to Jesus, Soph. I'm not saying we don't need him. And Tom is saying that he would start Jesus and save the others because they have played a lot of football. I agree. I totally agree with Tom. I'm not saying that we don't need him. We do. And having a player like him either come off the bench or start. But what we do know now, and my point, is that we can we found a way to cope without him and not rely on Eddie Nketiah. And that is a massive, massive difference for this team, Lee. And now we're seeing goals again. And I wanted you to talk me through that in just a second. But I want to finish this Avengers thing because for me, Maestro Martin and his Arsenal Avengers, here's who are his Avengers for me in the side. You got Rice, okay? You got Saka, yeah? You've got the Great Wall of Arsenal, Beauty and the Beast, Saliba and Gabriel. And some of you may be shook when I put this up. I'm just saying, all right, okay. I think Kai Havertz is so important to this team. And some of you may not like it. And it's the curious case of Kai and his haters. But I think as I said, you learn to cope without him, Tommy, Zinchenko, Partey. But can you cope if any of those other players fall? And I think we struggle, Lee. Yeah. And when you get 21 goals since we've been back, how does that happen? What's he done? What's happening? What have you seen? What is different?
Well, I think Martin Odegaard's come to the party. I think it's been fantastic. But do you know what, all those players you mentioned there, and I think there's two that I would bring into that. But they're all generals. They're all proper players. I would bring Ben White into that as well. Like, you know what I mean? I think that I think he's a leader as well on the pitch as well, like, you know, and that's what we've got. We've got all these leaders in the team now, like, you know, and I think Martinelli is on the cusp of it, like, you know, but I think that when Martinelli's been left out of the team, we have missed him. I think if Martinelli was to get out of the team, we would miss him because I think that he does a lot of work, which I don't think necessarily is highlighted. I think if you have a look at Saka, I think he's fantastic. Saka gets a little bit of help from Benjamin. Martinelli doesn't get that. He has different players over on that side, but they're all proper men, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like they're all young, but they're all players that if you have a look at let's take Kai Havertz for a minute, like, you know, and people will go, oh, I don't know. I agree with you on that one because do you know when the going gets tough, Kyle gets stuck in. Kai gets stuck in. Physical, you know. I like the way he gets fouls, goes down when he has to, breaks up play when he has to, and things like that. I think Benjamin does that as well. Like, you know, I think and I like that. I think that if something's not right on the pitch, I don't know if you noticed it on Saturday as they're walking off. Ben White's having some sort of say. I don't know who it was to. I think it might have been Saka. Not nastily, but he's wants it done properly, wants it done right. And I will say with Ben White, every game he's there and there. When's he ever injured? When's he miss games? Very rarely does he miss a game, like, you know. So I do put him in that list. But I think then, and the one thing, if you said to me, right, and that's why I put Ben White. If you put Ben White as captain, I wouldn't disagree with you. Gabriel captain, I wouldn't disagree with you. Saliba, I wouldn't disagree with you. He's another one like Martin Odegaard that probably not vocal, but leads by example. Ben Rice, Declan Rice, is certainly one that can, that, like, you know, as we all know, how well has he fitted into this Arsenal team and club is it's unbelievable what he's done. And I, you know, maybe Jesus as well. I think that perhaps we're forgetting about Jesus. So it's a very, very interesting point. So, you know, if he is fit, does he come straight back in the team? That's a very, very interesting conversation. So, we've got proper players now in this squad stuff.
We do, Lee and Mark. Uncle Ben's rice. That's what he was thinking. He was thinking, "Oh, I fancy a bit of nosh after this.
Yeah,
what do I
yeah,
fancy?
yeah,
Not a
yeah,
fillet
yeah.
o fish from."
I love my rice
fillet
now.
o fish.
I have rice. I have rice with nearly every dinner now. Like
I love it.
I love it. You know what I mean?
Because here's the other thing too. Don't have it with every dinner, Lee. Have a bit of salad. You getting your greens
with rice. You know what I mean?
Okay, with rice.
I can get rice on my dish at the moment. I have it. I'll tell you that now.
There are a lot of people who would like rice on their dish. When you're talking about those players, and I agree with you, but I feel like there's this irreplaceable first tier and maybe a second tier that is irreplaceable, but doesn't mean they have to start, but they are fundamentally important. And I wanted to point out. Yeah, jump in, mate.
I will say this to you, like, you know, Thomas Partey was that last season.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden he's not now, like, you know what I mean? So that's telling you the squad and certain players are stepping up, like, you know what I mean? When Thomas Partey was missing from games last year, I don't care who it is, well, as fans were, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
This season he hasn't hardly played and he's been replaced. So that just shows you how good the replacements are.
I agree. And I know Carol was saying that our bench was a little weak in the last couple games. But when you think about those players coming back, Jesus, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, the bench gets a little stronger. But I do believe the second tier deserves some credit. This guy. All right? This freaking guy. Okay? Let me just get rid of this didgeridoo. Here we go. This guy. His stats are amazing.
Unbelievable.
Okay. He's been unbelievable. He's found a place in this team. And this is why I brought up the Jesus thing, Lee, because to me, the biggest gasp about losing Jesus was the thing that Eddie lacks the tracking back. He lacks opening up the spaces. He lacks going in deep that opens up those flanks for Saka and Martinelli. He doesn't have the tenacity, the nous, the football mind of Jesus. This geezer is unbelievable. I mean, I know that he's had some poor games and I know, you know, but since he's been asked to come in and do this job, right, I think he's been sensational. So this is why I say we can cope without Jesus. But Trossard, to me, is an unsung hero. And I wanted to get your take on Kivior, because I apologize. I mean, I don't know. I've got to see him play for a few more games. I may have referred to him as a donkey last year. I may have. Just saying out loud. I think I may have. However, right, when you have, forget looking at the academy plays on the bench, guys, when you've got him who stepped in, and some people now don't want Zinchenko coming back into the team, and we're going to get Lee's take on that. When you've got Trossard, right, these guys are coming in and getting their shot. And what are they doing that a lot of Arsenal players haven't done in the past, Lee? They're taking their chance and they're showing Arteta, all right, that they can play. They won't let him down. And there's a lot more meat to the bone in their play. How about that one, kids? We're showing the picture for those on audio.
That's where it all changed.
That's where it all changed. Right here, man. Give him another steak. Everyone's saying we need a striker. Mikel Arteta is just give me another steak. Now, what's your take on Trossard, Kivior, those types of players that are coming in and making a bit of a difference?
Listen, I always said it. Kevin said it as well. Like, you know, when you're playing football, it's the 11 speaks for itself, but you have to have backup players to win your leagues. Backup players. They're as important, they're not as important on the game and the fact, but behind the scenes they're so important because they've got to come in, do the business. They might have to come back out again and then go in again and all that. Like that's mentally they've got to be strong. And I think that first of all, let's take Trossard. I think that he'd have a couple of bad games, and there must have been a time when he was very frustrated, like on what I'm doing at Arsenal. I played really well and been left out and everything like that. But he's still, I'll come back for more. And I thought the turning point for him was Nottingham Forest when he was left out for Jesus. He come on with 10, 15 minutes. It's probably the best cameo from a substitute that I've seen for a very long while. And I think the manager's gone, right, I can't leave him out no more. And then he's gone in and he's been sensational. And I will give him his credit. And the biggest credit that I can give him is what you've said earlier on, we've not missed Jesus. And Jesus is a superstar in my eyes. We've not missed him. You know, that says it all about him. Like, you know, Kivior, for instance, I think, like, you know, it's not rocket science. He was being asked to do things that he's not meant to do. What he's done there, I think, like, a credit to Arteta, he's gone, right, I just want you to defend. You'll just go in there, defend. And that's what he's done. Once you get your confidence up from your defending, we can go on there a little bit more. And what he's done is that he's, you know, he was involved in a couple of the goals on Saturday. So he's defending, he's got confidence in defending, and now he's taking his game to another level. Like, you know, he might not play on Wednesday night. He might not play Saturday. Who knows? But what he's done is he's come in and done the job. And for me now, like, I'm not looking at him and going, oh, Kiviar's playing. Oh, no, like, we're in trouble. Like, you know, I'm not looking at any of them, like, you know, and that's what is the fantastic thing that they've done. Kai Havertz has been immense in the last couple of games. Realistically, since Jesus has come out of the team, like, you know, gone up front against Liverpool when we had that game there, then has dropped into midfield to allow Trossard to come into the team. And it's been fantastic. And also what it's done, Sophie, is then those performances from, I think, take Trossard first has had an impact on Saka, because now Saka's producing. And I also think with Kivior, who's defending and staying stuck in that defensive side there, Martinelli hasn't got to track back so much as what he had to do and playing that. So he's concentrating on his forward play. People said, oh, he didn't do a lot on
his pass.
His pass for the first goal.
Yeah.
The first goal for after 4 minutes. You know, that's the most important goal. He sets it up. So all of them are contributing. And that is what you do. And it all comes down off a base of a very good defensive base. And that's the back four playing very well, and the main man in front of them. I don't know if you remember in the game, but at 2-0, Burnley had a little spell where they were on top of us a little bit, like not on top, but they have every team has their spell. They had their spell. They had Fofana was just about to get a shot off, and Declan Rice come in, bang, took it away from him. So good. But there's a chance that if that goes 2-1, it could be a bit of a different game. But we're not allowed. What I've also liked about the team is there was tackles going in like on Saturday, and they're all celebrating them like it was a goal. There's a hunger to keep clean sheets. There's a hunger to make sure that they don't concede. And the other thing I'm going to have to say, we're not talking about the goalkeeper no more. We're not talking about it, like, you know. So something's gone right there.
You must have read my mind, because he was next.
Yeah,
he was next. And listen, I know that you know, I love Aaron. I love Nick. I love the family. I love them all. I know you do too, Lee. We have love for a lot of people, and there's other Arsenal players I have a lot of love for. And maybe if fans read between the lines, it wasn't the case of is he better or not. The argument was more of how is he been told, how has it been communicated, right? But also at the time there wasn't really a point of difference some fans could see. And if I'm being honest too, we're playing so well and we're controlling the midfield a lot more, which is giving the back line even more stability. They're playing better with him. He hasn't had that much to do, but when he has had to do it, He has been absolutely commanding David Raya. He really has. And this is the other thing I wanted to get to, Lee, because God forbid something happened to Aaron Ramsdale. We were all worried about Matt Turner, and I met Matt Turner, and I like Matt Turner, and he's great in interviews, and he'd always be super friendly. And when I cover him for the men's national team in the States, great guy. But we shuddered at the thought of Rambo getting injured. Let's be honest, right? We're not sugarcoating it here. Now, I'm talking to you from the perspective of exactly per Jesus, per Tomiyasu, per Trossard. Now, right? And again, Sophie eating some humble pie in terms of the decision making from the gaffer, right? Is that we do have two goalkeepers. What he should have said from the beginning, Mikel Arteta, is yes, we do, but he's my number one. Not we've got two goalkeepers competing at the highest level for the position. He should never have done that. He's the one that created this mess. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been that narrative. But again, whether you're a Mikel Arteta lover, hater, were with him at the beginning or not, and I really want to stop talking about all of that nonsense because we say things as we see them. But as it stands right now, he got it right. And Lee, God forbid something happened to Raya or Ramsdale, you've got two really good goalkeepers now to win. And you were talking about resting players in the Champions League. Isn't that the team that we've always wanted to be? The Liverpool that can bring players off the bench or rest players, or the City. So here we are now. Has it come full circle and turnkey? You were going to talk about Raya. He was my next point. I wanted to lob that over to you. What does the judge say?
Yeah, listen, first and foremost, Aaron Ramsdale's professionalism and that has been wonderful. I've got to say that. He's been absolutely unbelievable. Like, you know, I watch his demeanour on after game and I feel for him. But he's there supporting the team and everything like that. His dad was in the crowd against Burnley. Don't have to be there, but he is. So that, you know, like everything about that family is on point. The reason that there was a lot of talk about it because Raya was making mistakes, and that was it. He's not making mistakes no more. He's not making mistakes no more.
That's so a great point.
You're not talking about him no more. He's just doing the business. I'm not mentioning. I'm thinking about Raya because he's doing what he's doing. He's been fantastic in the last few games, and when people go to me, oh, he ain't had a lot to do. But what he's done bloody well. And there's also that thing about concentration levels, making sure that you had to make a good save on Saturday, which people don't say a lot about. And for me, you know, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm going to still say it's still the wrong decision as far as how it was done and everything like that. But hold my hands up. Raya, you know, has come in and it is proving everybody wrong at this moment in time. And good. That's what you want.
Exactly.
What you want.
And Lee, don't we want to be wrong? Like the opinion that matters the most is the managers, whether you like him or not, right? It was the same with Wenger and Graham and even Bruce Rioch, bless him. Whoever is at the helm, right? Their opinion matters the most. They're the ones that make the decisions. They'll live and die by them. And sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. And our job is to give our opinion on what they do, how the team plays. And exactly. I stand with you, Lee. I don't like how it was done. But again, the managers so far as we stand and the way we're playing and the way we're not leaking goals and his record is the best in the league, Mikel, you know, got it right so far.
Exactly that. And at the end of it, I'm going to be there. I love it. Absolutely love it. If the manager keeps proving me wrong and a lot of other people wrong.
Yeah.
I'll eat as much humble pie as I can possibly have. You know what I mean? There was a time when I didn't think Mikel was right for the job. I don't think that now. And you know what? I've got an opinion. Football is about changing opinions and things like that, like, you know, and that's what it's great. And I tell you what, I'm hoping that Kai Havertz does exactly the same. In 6 months' time, people will be going, do you know what? I was wrong there. And I certainly won't be going, oh, I was right there. Like, I don't think that there's anything in that. I love it that Mikel is proving me wrong. Do you know why? Because it means Arsenal were doing well. And that's all I care about. I don't
Exactly.
care about Mikel. I don't care about whoever and all that. Like, you know, I feel for Aaron Ramsdale. I really do. Like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Arsenal winning, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And
here's what I'm going to try and do, Lee. I'm going to try. There's a bit of a delay on our broadcast. Sorry if I just butted in. But what I was going to say is that it's happened a couple times. I apologize. I won't kill. I've learned a lot of lessons instant gratification is a massive thing in football, right? Success is now, money matters. If you can't keep up with the Joneses, you're shit out of luck, you know. And I think Arsenal have learned over the last 2.5 seasons to work their way to keeping up with the Joneses again. And they found a manager who bought into. He was the company man at the beginning, but he was the type of employee that says this: just give me the job, get my foot in the door, and I'll show you what I can do. And sometimes those people come across as a bit cocky. They go in and they try and fail quickly. But what I like about how I look back is I like that he tried and he failed, because at least he did it on his own sword.
100%.
He didn't come in and just do what Wenger did in the latter stages, or what Emery did when he lost the dressing room and lost the battle with Ozil. And you got to respect that, Lee, that he stood by his convictions. And that's why I think fans like me turned the corner about 18 months ago, a year and a half ago, where you can start seeing, hold on a second, this cat's sliced differently. He'll make mistakes because he's willing to take the risks. And some fans don't think he takes the risks because he's been pragmatic this season, but you're not. You're seeing an evolution of what it takes to win. And this guy will do it on his terms.
Exactly that. And it is his terms. And if he is going to go down, right, it's on his terms.
Mm-hmm.
He don't care what fans think. Like, you know, he wants the fans on his side. And he, you know, even there has been times when I've not agreed with him, right? But he's still got me. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? He'll say, right, I need the against Liverpool. I need the crowd. I need, you know, and yes, all right, I'm with you, Mikel. I'm with you. You know, the away games. I will say this about Mikel, whether you like him or you don't, and whatever. I have dreamt and wished for a very, very long while when I've gone away games that players would come up to the away end and applaud them and all that. And people, like, there would be one or two and everybody walking away. And I used to go on about, it don't mean a lot and all that. And I used to say, it does. It means a lot. Now, after every game, even when that game against Fulham, every single player's there. And I'll tell you something now I noticed I don't know if you noticed this on Saturday, a few of the players walked off, like, you know, and he pulled them back. He said, "Oi, get back here. You weren't clapping him long enough." You know what I mean? Like, poor, you know, like, I'm being horrible, like, you know, I want to get in the chair. No, get out there. The whole crowd, backroom staff, everybody clapping the away support. There's what that does is shows you that he's got everybody together, whether you like it, whether you like him, whether you don't, whether players have got the ump with him or not. He has got this, and I call it now, like, you know, a band of brothers. He's got a band of brothers all together, willing to fight for the Arsenal, fight for the cause. Like, whether it will take us where we want to go, don't know. But I tell you what, he's going to do it his way, whether you like it or not, like, you know. And I'll tell you what, if you actually sat down with him and he said, well, if you don't want to chant my name, so be it. That's fine. You know, I'm still going to do it my way. And at the end of it, he's a professional footballer. He's a player that's played and all that. Like, Kevin will tell you this. You know, if Kevin scored 2 goals on a Saturday and then he missed an open goal the next week, I'll be caning him. Simple as that, like, you know what I mean? Do you know what? We're fans. You know what I mean? And fans are fickle. So, like, you know, and Mikel, I think, gets that. I think players at this Arsenal football team get that. You know, yeah, we're going to get stick if we don't do well. But when we do well, we're going to get it and all. And I tell you what, when we win games, we will celebrate it because we don't care what other people say. We're not bothered because it's all about us. And Mikel's not going to change. I don't, I think he took a lot of criticism from the press about his touchline demeanour, shall I say it like that? Hasn't changed. Couldn't be bothered. He's not bothered what the press say. He's not bothered what opposition managers say. He's not bothered what the Arsenal fans say. He's just going to do it his way, whether you like it or not. Lump it. I love that. In a certain way, I kind of like that.
I do too. There's a pleasant arrogance to his ignorance of all that. And when it turned for me, like the first time where I was like, I likey, is with the Aubameyang saga. That to me was, you're a manager. You were a coach, you're a manager, right? And when he laid down the gauntlet, this is why at first I was like, he was a nice captain. He was a good player. Didn't set the world on fire. He was neat. He was a very neat player, as neat as his hair, right, Lee? And when he became manager, it was like, it was a little bit underwhelming for me and for a few others. When the Aubameyang thing happened, and he's like, no captain of mine is, number one, going to show late to a game, North London derby, and then refuse to do your warm down. That to me was when I believed if Arsenal's going to change, he may have the balls to do it. And that was the moment for me where I started trying to embrace him as the Arsenal manager.
Well, I'll tell you when he won me over, or I changed my opinion about him. Not won me over, but changed my opinion about it, was when he'd done the documentary. We lost
all
to
or
Everton.
Nothing.
Yeah, all or nothing. We lost to Everton. We was 1-0. I was fuming that game. We was poor and everything like that. And he come in there that game, and I don't know if you remember it. He turned around. We was winning 1-0 at half time. He come in at half time and he said, "If you carry on playing like this, we'll lose this game." He warned every single one of those players what was going to happen if you don't up your game and everything like that. And then exactly what he said was going to happen, and he ripped into him at the end of the game. And do you know what? I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I thought, do you know what? Yeah, that'd do, because they, for me, that day they deserved it, and I'm pretty sure after that Fulham game they deserved it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that at the end of the day, he'll back his players when he has to, but when they're not producing the performance that we expect. Listen, everybody can lose. We can all lose. Everybody loses games, but there's a way to lose a game of football.
Yes.
And we've lost to West Ham, and we've lost to Liverpool in the cup, and Aston Villa and Newcastle. There's a few you can just go, well, we tried and everything. That game against Fulham was unacceptable. That game against Everton was unacceptable, and he let them have it. So
he won other people over, Lee, as well. He won opposing. That was after that, there was a little less taking the piss out of Arsenal. A little less. Of course, we then went on to, we didn't qualify for the Champions League. That was a heartbreaker. Have you seen the last episode yet?
No.
Have you watched it?
No.
Lee refuses to watch the last episode, by the way, guys.
I won't watch the last one, but because I know what's coming. But listen, if we win the title or something like that, I'll be quite happy to be able to watch it. But listen, he was brilliant in that line. And the way you're right about that Aubameyang thing. I tell you what, that I think was another big key thing where Arsenal changed, because if you can do it to Aubameyang, you can do it to anybody. And I tell you what, also was a good thing was that they lost a lot of money on that, Arsenal, right? But they were prepared to do it. If you go look at Edu and all that, probably thinking, well, we don't really need to do it, but if that's what he wants, we'll do it. So.
And knowingly that Barcelona were going to turn a profit off it as well.
Yeah. Didn't matter. It was more important that the team ethic and everything was like that, So there you go.
So a few more minutes here with the judge. It's like when someone says, "Oh, I haven't seen Titanic." Oh, the ship
Yeah,
sinks.
no, there's the
Yeah,
spoiler
yeah,
alert. I
yeah.
just see that way. It's quite funny, like, you know what I mean? Don't we lose
You
at
guys,
Tottenham 3-0, I know, like, you know.
you guys are on fire tonight. 500 of you in live chat. Kiss that like button. Give it a good knock. Nut it, whatever it is. And just for you, Suraj, because you ask for him all the time. Here's Vinny doing his magic. And seeing as we've given Raya some love tonight, we'll bring out the little Vespa. There you go. What a save, eh? Put you in goal for penalties. You could save a few. I think I'm going to end on this because this is where I'm coming with Arteta. And I spoke about it on Harry's show. Really good show with Harry. Go check out his channel as well. We talked about, he asked me a question and I wanted to talk to him about the journey versus the destination. And you mentioned all or nothing. And what I said to Harry is, I've had this reflectiveness, and someone just said, Sean C, I think, called you, me, Dan, and a few others reactionary. And, we just go crazy when we react to things that happen. Well, yeah, that's what we do. We watch a game, we react to it, right? Sometimes you reflect on your reaction and then you have different takes. But in all or nothing, I don't either. And you've talked about that before as well, haven't you, Lee?
I admit that. That's what I do. I react after every game. You know what I mean? One, it's part of my job, but I always done that when I was before I got into this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either. And when he asked Lacazette the question about journey versus destination, because we all like to go on holiday, I see you on your Facebook in Dubai, and I love a good vacay in the Med, or the Caribbean here, but it was easy to say the destination because you just want to win. We're so desperate to win, Lee, that we just are thinking about the destination. And this is how I want to end the show tonight, because I want your take on it, guys. There's a couple of things in terms of winning, right? How you win, the manner in which you win, creating a winning culture. Again, Arsenal 2.0, this new DNA, this new culture that Mikel Arteta, and they do. All right, let's give him some credit. A lot of you still want to shit on Edu. I don't know why. Don't understand it. But we're never going to get the respect until we win. But what I want to know is, are fans ready to enjoy the journey and not worry so much about the destination? Because what I've started to do, I went through a really difficult phase at the early part of the season. My mum wasn't well and didn't really want to watch football. But then, somehow I always came back to football. It would be my comfort zone, or a film, right? I'm a film entertainment person, but a podcaster, come back to it. You come back to your comforts. And the journey in a season is up and down. There's so many chapters to write. But, I think Ferguson, Trev are a great example of enjoying the journey. They love going away. They love their team. I was watching the show tonight. They're getting ready. Careful, you going to Porto, or are you not going to Porto?
Yeah, I'm going like early tomorrow.
So are they. You probably run into. You're probably on the same flight.
Bumped into Trevor up there, So.
And they know how to enjoy the journey. And I have started to try and teach myself a little bit, or unwind some of the stuff, the instant gratification, and enjoy the journey. And last season, I loved our journey. The destination didn't happen, right, to win it. But the journey was amazing. And I still think we look back on last season and we can point to moments and think, the Bournemouth moment. I mean, that was amazing being there, to be there. The United game even, the Eddie late goal, just to be there. It was amazing. So, Lee, are you prepared and are you enjoying the journey, or is your mind just on the destination?
No, I'm listen, I'm going to be really honest with you, and I'll ask you the question as well, and I'll tell you my answer. I enjoyed last season more than we did when we won the FA Cup.
When Arteta, when he took over from Emery?
More than Arteta when we took over from that season. That was a horrible season. Even when we won it, we beat Chelsea. I still think when we beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, it was probably the best cup final that I've been to for a very, very long while. A great day out and all that. But the season weren't great. Last season, we didn't win nothing. It was fantastic. And what I turn around and say, like, you know, going to Burnley, I keep saying Bournemouth, Burnley this weekend.
You got your Bournemouths, your Bournemouths, and your Blackburns.
All wrong, like, you know. But going to, you know, I'm nervous about going and I've got to win this game, But I'd rather be like that than going there and going, oh, we've got a chance of top 4 or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And we're not, you know, so like, I've celebrated, like going Newcastle away and winning 1-0 with a Koscielny goal and getting us top 4 and getting above Spurs. It's different now. Like, we're challenging for titles, so I'm always going to be on that thing there, like, you know, and I try and convince myself of that and try and enjoy it from that point of view. Listen, I don't like losing, I'll be honest and all that, but I'm going to be really honest, and this is where me and Dan differ, if you like, because Dan's been brought up when he's very young, Arsenal winning all the time.
Yep.
I wasn't. You know what I mean? We won the FA Cup in 1979, and then we had a drought for through my school years and things like that, not winning things, and blimey, we was rubbish until George Graham took over, and then it started to change. So, but I get it that people that were in that era of 89, the 90s and whatever, like, they expect Arsenal to win things all the time. It's not for the older fans. It's never been that expectation, like, of winning titles, because, you know, we was never ever, even as great as Liam Brady was, probably one of the best players that ever played for Arsenal. We got to 3rd, but we was never going to win the league. You know what I mean? Like, never looked like winning the league, you know. But we're challenging for titles, you know, like 2 years on the spin, and I actually enjoy it, and it's much better than being halfway down the table in 10th. Look at Chelsea at the moment in time. You know, they've got a fantastic 1-1 result against Manchester City, yeah, but it don't mean nothing. So we've done that. I went to Man City when Cazorla scored, remember, and Giroud won 2-0. That was the last time I think we won at City. Didn't mean nothing come the end of the season. Great result, didn't mean nothing. We go to Man City and get something this time, it's going to mean something. We go to Burnley today, you know, Saturday, it meant something. West Ham away meant something. Liverpool at home meant something. So for me, it is all about the journey, enjoy it and all that, like, you know. But don't get me wrong, if we lose, I'm going to do me nut, because that's what I do, you know.
Because that's what I do.
That's what I do, you know. And I don't listen, I'm not going to change because people tell me, oh, that's not right, and everything like that, you know. Do you remember we had a fantastic result against Chelsea, 1-5-2 there? Yeah?
Yep.
Do you remember that? Van Persie scored an hat-trick. Fantastic game, fantastic result. I'll tell you what, the boring 1-0 that we'd had there last year meant more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed that more.
I get what you're saying, because we're backing it up. We're competing now, Lee. It's not just an empty victory. We're actually competing. Whereas before, you never... And this is the kind of ending to that journey bit with you here is I know we're all joking what happened in Dubai. It's like Vegas. What happened in Dubai stays in Dubai. But whatever, I think they've come back from that trip for the first time. I see this squad and I think they believe they can win it. And that is the difference between last year's run. I never felt towards the end the spotlight was too bright. They couldn't handle it. The mentor was gone. And it's very early to say, but I'm just saying what I see. See, you guys can come back and throw pelters at me later, because this is what we do, as Lee said. But I see belief, Lee. And I think that is the biggest difference. I think they've overcome adversity last season. The Fulham game. Who was it who scored? Was it Saliba scores the own goal, or Gabriel comes back, scores 2-1, right? Yeah. We've overcome those moments of adversity. But I'm talking big adversity here. I'm talking you've got Liverpool, the giants of English football, and the wannabe who became the bees, knees, City on the other side. But do you believe, sandwiched in the middle, that you can do it? And I think they believe they can. And that's the difference.
I'll ask you a question and leave it on this, and people in the chat. If Arsenal would have lost to Burnley on Saturday, right, do you think Man City would have drawn with Chelsea? drop points? I don't think so. Pressure. Put pressure on them. Put a little bit of pressure on them. Like, you know? Liverpool as well, 4-1 winners at Brentford. Put a little bit of pressure on Manchester City. You know, if we lose those two games, like Liverpool, I'm saying Liverpool, but you know what I'm saying, like both lose those games there, I guarantee you that Man City do not lose that game there. They was a little bit, dare I say it, anxious towards the end, weren't they? And I've got to leave you with this point because, and it's a big point, is when I was seeing Kevin, like Tyrese come in, Tyrese is like Kai, if you don't know, are big Man City fans, right?
They are.
Big City fans weren't happy.
They grew up there. They were in the academy with Foden. They were playing with Foden,
like playing in the same team as Foden. You know, I know we weren't going to win that game. Listen to this Manchester City chat here, like, you know. When we went 1-1, I thought we was going to win it, like, you know, blah blah. And then he hit me with something that I loved. Man City fan, I'm worrying about the Arsenal. And me and Kev just had a big grin on our face, like, you know what I mean?
I love it.
If Manchester City fans are worried about Arsenal, I don't think they were that worried about Arsenal last season.
No, they weren't. In fact, I felt like without mocking us, they were mocking the fact that we actually thought that we could win it. You know, you could just, if you could be a fly on the wall, it was like, and absolutely an exquisite point. Lee Judges an exquisite in the same sentence. Dear God, what's happening here?
There you go.
It's true. And we backed it up last week, didn't we? Because Liverpool played, they won. City played, they won. We had to go out there and we smashed West Ham. And City went last. And we've not really seen that before. We're going to have to keep our eye on that one, Lee Judges. Yeah. Excellent point. Yeah. Excellent point.
There you go.
Very lovely from Lee. Okay, 1 hour and 11 minutes of pure football extravaganza of a conversation with Mr. Judges here. You know where to find him, all right, at Lee Mark Judges on the old Twitter sphere or X. I always say to the listeners, Lee, it just sounds like a porn film, so I try not to say X. Lee Judges TV. And of course, you can see and hear his dulcet tones on AFTV. How are the boys over there? Good, James? Give my love. I think James is super smart. I like James. He's coming on the show. He's going to come on the show.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic team now. Like, it really is good guy. Really good guys there, you know. And we're all different. We've all got different views and all that, like. But you know, like, I absolutely love going away with you know, like the boys. Cecil's fantastic to go away with.
He's hilarious.
Like, absolutely brilliant. Robbie, to be honest, is like good to go away with. You know what I mean? You can banter him, give him a bit of stick, and he takes it, like, you know.
Like the dad, big dad, taking the piss.
No, so we do little things to him, like, I'll tell you, like, you know, and actually little things like we have bets if he notices when we move his seat, if he notices it or not, and things like that. And he takes it all in good fun. Julian as well comes on there, and we've got great behind cameramen as well. Like, you know, it's just a pleasure to be. It really is a good place to be with those guys now. And as you say, James has took us to a different
Both
level.
Cecil and James have really added a lot.
It's been fantastic. Cecil is just good at what he does, for one thing there, and then James comes in with what he does, and he does it really, really well. Like, you know, so you know, it's a pleasure to be there at the moment. I'm really looking. I know I've got to be up early in the morning, but can't wait, you know, and we'll have some fun tomorrow.
Listen, you guys are going to have a blast. Safe travels, safe flight to Porto. Bring back those, that victory. I just remembered that it's not the group stage; it's actually the knockout stage. It's back, people. We're back. This is it. This is it. Don't get scared now, as Kevin McAllister from Home Alone said. QA Gooner, hope Kev's loved the chat. Here's what we got to do, right? Everyone listening on replay in YouTube, before you leave, right? There's been 500 of you in live chat tonight. I want you to give a lot of love in the YouTube comments to Super Kev, whether it's a heart, whether it's a muscle, whatever it is, because he would do it for you. And I want you to please do it for him. So please show Super Kev a lot of love in the YouTube comments, for those listening on replay, especially for those coming out of the club tonight with me and Lee, it takes 1 second to go into the comments section and show Kev that you love him. And Guna Greg, I wanted to put this up. I have to tell you guys, watching your content most days, I didn't realize you feel like that. You actually know you guys, they know us from afar, sharing the ups and downs, following our beloved clubs. I'm welling up. And there's been a lot of those comments this evening as well. So be sure, absolutely sure, to tell your loved ones that you love them. And let's just keep putting these up. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for showing the love to Super Kev. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. Lee's going to go to Porto. We've got to let him go get his sleep. Hope you've had your dinner already. And congratulations to our Arsenal women for breaking the attendance record. And we will be talking about that this week. I keep promising you a show, but I promise you we will do a show. It's just been, as you know now, a little bit of a crazy time. Okay, everyone. That is it. Have a good night and good luck to the Gunners tomorrow. At ease, at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.